you. Okay, and give me a second. Okay, so let me start the session. Okay, so we have gone through the ways and the perspectives, and next to it, we just started about the topic of unified process. And while discussing unified process, I just given you the definition, what is a unified process, why we need it, and I just given you the explanation. If any people left from the project, how it is just coordinated. Everything we have gone through it. And after that, we just started with what is meant by business disciplines. I think so. You have noted down the disciplines. Around 6 to 7 disciplines are there. Business model, requirement, design. Have you gone through it? I think so. I just shown you a diagram based upon discipline and the phases. Okay, once again, let me move on to that particular screen so that everyone can recall to it. So whatever the screens I'm just skipping, we are just going to discuss now. For literally for the discussion, I'm just move over here. Okay, here you can look at. I just shown you that this is the graph. So here you can note down on what duration it goes to the height and when it just decreases. So here you can note it down. What are the unified process disciplines? So here you can note down the disciplines: business modeling, requirement, design, implementation, testing, deployment, configuration and change management, project management, and environment. So these are the disciplines that an individual project will go through. Okay. So let me discuss in detail. Due to time constraint on the day, I just came directly to this particular segment. We started from here. Okay, and the last class we just completed with the feedback of the unified process, why we need it, and what is meant by risk taken. Everything we have gone through. So from here, we just about to start our session. Okay. Screen visible? The screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, let me start here. Okay, what is meant by agile? Agile. What is meant by agile? Anyone? Everyone have already gone through this particular topic in software engineering. What is meant by agile? Yes. Manoj?
Flexible,
Not what?
flexible plans.
Yes, for it will be having some flexibility plans. So, for example, if you are designing any software, it should be designed at the customer point of view. For example, let me give you an example. Everyone look at. So, everyone logs into your Gmail, isn't it? With your username and password, everyone will log into your Gmail. For example, if you are typing any special characters, if you are typing any special characters, it will be intimating you that mail ID should not contain a special characters. So there is a backend programming which is running behind. It knows that how the customer will react. For example, if you start with the mail ID with the numbers, it asks you to enter a special characters. For example, if you enter an alphabet. So a project has to be designed keeping in mind that a customer or a particular people what he actually do. Yeah. So you should have some plans. You should have some alternative plans like plan A, plan B. Okay. Let me look at once again. Let me zoom the screen once again. Okay, here can look at agile manifestos. So individual interaction or working with the software. If you are doing with a customer collaboration or you are doing a project which is responding to changes. So if you are doing with individual and interaction, so overall process and the tool has to be given more importance. If you're working with a software, you have to be giving more importance for comprehensive documentation. Or if you're working with a customer collaboration, you have to concentrate more over for contract negotiations. Or if you're working over with the changing to the responses to the changes, it should be over for the following of a plans. So there are some set of rules which followed in IT sector for working with any set of projects in an agile mode. Okay, let me move on to the principles for agile process. Here you can look at our highest priority is to satisfy the customer. Here everyone listen to this particular statement. Our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through earlier and continuous delivery of valuable software. So once you have not satisfied your customer, then the particular people will be moving over to some other concern. So you'll be getting loss of your projects. To hold your customers, you have to be very particular of creating a precise software. Next, you can note it down. You have to welcome the changes with requirements. So once we should not get to hesitate to make our change with the requirement compacts. Okay, here can note down. Welcome the changing requirement. Even late in development, the agile process harnesses change for the customer's competitive advantages. Okay, next moving on to the third one. These things are somewhat theoretical, but let me explain it very clear. Okay, here you can look at the third one. The software has to work frequently. It should not get halted at any point of view. Fourth one, the business people and the developer must work together for the daily development. Okay, project around motivated individuals. Sixth one, so these things are somewhat theoretical when coming with the principles of agile. Okay, sixth one, most efficient and the effective model of conveying information. So we are just moving over to agile. So working software in a primary measure of the progress. We were moving over to the agile. And for sustainable development, we just moving over. For sponsor development and for user benefits, we are just moving over. For continuous attention to the technical exclusives, we just moving over. And some sort of things like based upon the work and based upon the architecture and requirement, we are just moving over for agile. So these 12 points you have to mention. The question was asked, what is meant by agile? And let's be the principles of agile process. Okay. Okay, let's just move to the next thing. Okay, here you can note down the allocation of percentages. I just already given some percentages, right? I'll ask us for a period of 21 days. How many periods you have to allocate for your analysis? How many period you have to allocate for? Anyone can you remember it? Can you give the percentage? How much percentage you just allocate for analysis and for testing?
20% for analysis and
Yes,
testing.
yes. 20% for analysis and testing, 20 to 30 for your design, and the rest you have to do it for your coding. Okay. So here, let me take here better. We can take one iteration. So here, let me take here. How they are just dividing it. For requirement analysis, 20%. For software analysis, 2%. Here you can look at for if you are working for 5 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So around if you have like this. So within this 2 weeks time, if we take this is one second iteration. We take this as a second iteration. So for this particular time duration, how be a particular process, sorry, let me take 3 weeks time for second iteration alone. So starting from first Monday to the third Monday or for a week period, how the process has to be allocated. How the process has to be allocated. For example, if 30% of requirement gathering, 5% of software working, so you have to plan accordingly. So this is simply the workflow, or for the evaluationary development. This is some examples. Okay. Okay. If we move on to the unified process phases, okay, everyone note it down. This is an important system question. Let me start it here. Note down pa. Unified process phases. Okay, first phase is inception phase. Second phase is elaboration. Third phase is construction. Fourth phase is transition. Everyone note it down. Okay, let me move further. So first phase is inception phase. Okay, what are the things you do in inception phase? In inception phase, you create the vision. Next thing, you analyze the business cases. Third thing, you define the scope. Fourth thing, you estimate for the wage. Okay, pa. Okay, these things are somewhat colloquial one. Okay, what is my vision? Anyone? What is my vision? Can you discuss, pa? These things already you have learned in software engineering. What is my vision? The colloquial word. What is my vision? Are you people having vision?
What we are going to do next.
Yes. What you are going to do it in future? Okay, that's a simple thing called as vision. Okay, what is my business case? Already we have learned about use cases, isn't it? In use case, what we do? We will just starting from putting number 1, 2, 3, 4. What are the step by step one? What are the set of instructions that you're going to follow is called as the use case. Like similarly, for a business case, what the business people will do is they started thinking over that whether this particular project will give you us revenue. This is the first priority. Okay, if we take this project, how many resources we need, how many people we have to debut, what are the system requirements we need, whether the particular database is available, whether that this particular software can be planned accordingly to complete it within these 21 days. These things are called as business cases. These things are called as business cases. Okay. Next thing is a scope. Okay. Scope will deals with what are the risk factors. What are the risk factors that are available after taking this particular project? Okay. Final thing is estimation. Okay. Estimation is the cost. The estimation is cost. Okay, if you have started a project, that project has to be entered in a particular time. How many cost it have to be a budget? So how many amount for the for example resources, salary for the people, everything you have to think it over before starting with your projects. This thing is called as inception phase. Okay, are you getting clear? Are you getting clear with this phase part? Yes, kindly post me in chat and also unmute yourself and give me the reply.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me move on to the next thing. It's called as elaboration. Okay, in elaboration, by the name itself, we can identify what is maybe elaborate. Elaborate. You're just going to elaborate the contents. Okay, starting with the vision. You have a vision. You're just going to refine or fine tune your vision. And secondly, you're just going to start your iterative implementation. Iterative implementation is you started doing your analysis, design, coding, everything in an evaluatory way, and also the iterative way. And also here you can look at in this phase you will be constructing a core architecture. What is meant by core architecture, or what is meant by architecture? What is meant by architecture? Whatever the terms you learn or already you have learned in your previous semesters. What is the architecture? Yes.
Design or a structure.
Design or a structure or a process controls. Process controls. Okay. So in this ways, what you're going to do is you're just going to construct. You're just going to refine the vision. You're just going to start iteration. You're just going to start the architecture implementation, and you are just going to resolve the risks at the inception phase. You have noted down the risk. In elaboration phase, what you do is whether we can able to take that risk. For example, if the customer is asking you to do the project within 10 days, this is very riskier. But whether if it is revenueable to us or we have sufficient amount of people to work it on, we can take that risk. Yeah, this is called as resolving of higher risk. Next thing, identification of most requirements. So what are the requirements a customer needs? Every requirement you have to get identified. Okay, so are you getting clear with this particular phase? Elaboration. Some other people's, kindly at least unmute yourself. Unmute yourself and give me the reply. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next phase is construction phase. Okay, in construction phase, the exact thing what we do is we started converting your models into code. Okay, we have already learned what is meant by model, what is meant by unified modeling language, what are the diagrams. All diagrams will be getting drawn in the construction phase, and after that we will be converting this diagram into a code, and that code we have to be getting implemented. That's called as construction phase. Okay, here you can look at the iteration. The iteration is getting implemented. The iteration implementation of the remaining lower risk are done, and the easier and the documentation, every preparation of deployment will be done. Okay, now coming to the next phase called as transition phase. In transition is similar to your testing. So we start with our alpha and beta testing. Okay, obviously transition will work fine with which testing? It just works fine with beta testing. Okay, already I have gone through with what is meant by alpha testing and beta testing. Okay, what is meant by beta testing? Beta testing.
Client side testing.
Yes, we should give our product to the client side and get the requirement or get the feedback from the client side, so that will be make and fine tuned for our final deployment of our product. Okay, and the transition phase you can look at finally after concluding every correction, we finally deploy the product to the customer. Okay, this transition phase also include one more process called as maintenance. Once you have deployed your product to the client side, you should periodically maintain that particular product. For example, if anything went wrong, you will be answerable and you have to pay for it. Okay, here you can look at, this is not the older waterfall or the sequential lifecycle models. This is the new thing when comparing with your previous requirement. Okay, now we're concluding with this particular thing. So unified process, unified phases, we have 4 phases: inception, elaboration, construction, and transition. Okay, let me move on to the next slide. Yes, this thing we have already gone through at the last class. Here, this thing is called as time box notation. It's called as time box notation. I just shown you that how many duration you will be allocating for each and every phases. And here you can look at, once again, let me zoom in the screen so that the text will be visible to you. Okay, let me start it from here. Okay, everyone, kindly draw this diagram. This is a simple diagram to explain you the entire question. Okay, so like I said, the inception phase is the first phase, and this is the shortest phase in the life cycle. You can note it down. All other phase will have more time boxes, but inception phase will have only one time box. So this is very smallest phase. Inception phase is the smallest phase, and you don't have any iteration. You don't have any iteration in the inception phase. This is simply an analysis phase. In elaboration phase, you can look at, this is somewhat it has an iteration, it has some iteration, and the end product, the end product of elaboration is called a milestone. The end product is called as milestone. So what is my milestone, pa? On the day I just given an example. While you are playing a game, you'll be having milestones. You should not repeat from the from the first of the game. Okay, so this is called as milestone. Okay, here you can note down what is the meaning of a milestone. An iteration endpoint when some significant decisions or evaluation occurs. A notable decision, if we have find out, we can mark it as a milestone. Okay, okay. Well, like I said, if you are doing any projects, if you are doing any projects or a software, you should have multiple backups. For example, if one went wrong, you can able to work it on with the last backups. Okay, let me move on to the next thing with called as construction phase. So, okay, here, like I said, this will produce various releases. Various releases. That's simply called as the versions. Here, you can note on what is meant by a release. But there is two different words called as version and release. Version and release. Here, I'm just giving you the definition of a release. A stable, executable subset of final product, and the end product of each iteration is a minor release. Okay. Okay, let me move on to the next thing. So here you will be getting incremented. Here you'll be getting incremented. Okay. Here you can note down the difference, the delta between the release of two subsequent iterations. For example, if you are always you will be getting updated with your apps. While you are going to the Play Store, you simply type the name of the particular app and you can note it down an update symbol. But before getting updated, you can look at what's new. Everyone can look at, isn't it? Have you gone through it? Have you gone through it? Before updating, while you are looking at your Play Store, you just enter, for example, if you are updating your WhatsApp, you simply type WhatsApp and you can look at an update symbol. But before updating, you can look at what's the new updates available. Below that's a document. What's new? That's has bullets. It will be listing out what are the differences. What are the differences between the previous version and what's the difference between the newer version? That's called as delta. It's called as delta. Okay, you should note it down. What is meant by delta? Delta is the difference between the previous and the past. Okay. Okay, let me move on to the next thing. Okay, coming over to the transition. Coming over to the transition. Transition is the final protection release. This is the final protection release. Okay, so at this point, the system is released for the protection usage. Okay, this is the very simplest thing, which is represented in the form of time boxes. Okay, let me come over to this particular graph. Okay, like I said, this particular graph will have more weightage. Let me show you the graph once again. Okay, pa. So on the day I just given a word called as artifacts. What is the meaning of artifacts? What is the meaning of artifacts? Can I come up with your answer? Artifacts. Yes. What is meant by artifacts? Yes. Yes, come up with the answers. What is meant by artifacts?
A product or item.
On the day I just given, it's a form of decoration. It's a form of decoration or a sketch. Okay, second. Okay, here these things will be used for your artifacts. Okay, let me zoom still it. Okay, pa. Here can note down that's a small line. That's a small line which is drawn here. So this is called as the iteration. So this is inception, and this is for elaboration, and next two for construction and transition. Okay, let me show one diagram. Everyone look at. So for business model, starting from inception phase to the last transition phase, so it will be getting peak. It will be getting peak only at the top of inception, at the phase of inception. When you are getting requirement, like I said, your end all requirement will be getting elaborated at the elaboration session. So what requirement the customer gives, it should be elaborated in detail between these two phases. So it is peak at the mid of inception and the elaboration. And coming into design, so like I said, the design phase will get peaks only at the elaboration phase. Okay. Next, coming into implementation. Okay, implementation, when it get peak, it just get a peak at when you are crossing with the elaboration and the construction phase. Okay. Now testing. Testing, I just said the two kinds of testing: verification and validation. So it should be getting peak at all time. It's just getting peak at all time. Okay, coming into deployment. Okay, deployment often completes at the last phase. So it just getting peak at the transition. Okay. So next thing is configuration and change management. Okay, configuration and change management, it also takes often very similar with your testing. You have to do the changes when it occurs. And project management. Okay, often you have to check. Here you can note down. There is some ups and downs initially for project management. At that first phase, it comes down, and at the last phase, first and last phase for project management. And for environment, you simply checks at the time of elaboration alone. Okay, Appa? Have you gone through this, or this explanation very clear? Anyone? Is this explanation clear? Kindly come up with the answers. Can, yes, kindly come up with the answers. Yes. Whether this graph is clear, kindly come up with the answers or either post me in chat.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, pa. So here you can note down what are the meanings of this unified process. So business model, requirement, design, everything we have gone through it earlier. So that's just moving on to the next screen. Okay, like I said, this is the tabulation which makes you very clear. So when you have to start and when you have to refine. Okay, is this point clear, pa? Let me move on to the next topic. I think so. I just clarified the same thing that we have discussed in the past class. Okay, so everyone note down. This is a new topic. This is a new topic. Note it down, pa. Case study. Case study. Put on the heading if you have some notes. So this is the next new topic that we are going to discuss. So this is somewhat interesting one. So we are just going to create a software using our case study. Okay. Okay. Let me start. So this particular case study is entirely with the example that I given on the very first day. Okay, what the example we have gone through the first day? Anyone recall it? I just given a project. Think it over. You are a developer. I am giving this project, so you have to work on this project. What the project I give it on? Yes. Have you come upon the word called as departmental store? Any answer with me, pa? On the very first day, I just given a word called as departmental store project.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay. So on the day, what the requirement I asked? Anyone? Look,
You are
it should be
report
interactive. While you're coming to the class, it should be very efficient to us. Okay. What I asked on the day?
for analysis. Who are the people involved?
Yes.
What is the purpose of the software?
Okay. Yes. What are the databases you have to be used it on? Whether you are using Excel or that thing is convenient, or you can able to adapt with the new databases. Okay. Okay, pa. So let me start the session. So this case study is a similar thing that with what we have discussed. Okay. Okay, here you can look at the application. Any application, it should need a UI element. What is meant by UI? What is meant by UI? What is meant by UI?
User interface.
Yes, user interface. The user has to interact with the system. So already you have learned in OOPS. How you interact with the system? There you will be using swings AWT. Have you reminded? In OOPS lab or OOPS thing, you will be learning what is meant by AWT. What is meant by AWT, pa? What is meant by AWT? What is meant by Java swings? Anyone? Yes. Okay. How will you add a header file in Java? How will you add a header file in Java? Yes. Come up with the answers. Look, this is the thing which is happening between us. Initially, you start coming in camps. You're simply not answering. Now you're just completely keeping mum. Can you answer with me, pa? In Java, how will you import a header file? Yes.
With the import.
Okay, pa. Let me ask some other people. Then Niranjana Devi. Niranjana Devi. Niranjana Devi. Niranjana Devi, are you there? Kindly answer me. Look, you are just simply wasting the time. By any other people, how will you import a particular packages like the people one already Manoj said? You'll be using import, isn't it? Import java.io.star. Yeah, this is entirely going very bad. Okay, here you can look at. So initially, what we need is we should have a user interface element. Okay. So second thing, so these are the like what are the categories that apply that what we're going to apply for a project. So initially, we should need a user interface element. Second, we need a core application logic. Third, we need a database access. So what these things I have mentioned on the day, I have mentioned these things as a three-tier architecture: model, view, controller. Okay. Okay, these three things will be called collaborated for any kinds of software or any kinds of hardware. So that we coin as object-oriented analysis and design. Okay, let me start. So for constructing any kinds of software, we should have some application logics. So let me give you the examples here. Okay, other layers are usually technological or platform dependent. Okay, why we are calling Java as platform dependent? Sorry, platform independent. Anyone? Why we are calling Java as platform independent?
that can run on any platform.
Okay, it can able to
Because
run it on any platform. Okay, one more thing is we will be giving a definition called as write once, run anywhere. Isn't it? Write once and
yes, sir.
run anywhere. Because Java can also be adapted in Android. It can be adapted in Android because Android runs in the background of Java. Okay. So in contrast, the object-oriented design of core logic is similar to the technologies that what we are going to adapt. Okay. Let me show you this picture and initially give the explanation, and after that, let me move on these things. Okay. Now everyone look at this diagram. I'm just zooming out the picture. Is this visible? Is this visible?
Yes, sir. Possible, sir.
Okay. Here you can note down. First phase, the customer will be looking at the product initially. For example, think it over that you are the billing people in a departmental store. You are the billing people in the departmental store. So what a billing people will do, he took a product, scan with the barcode. Okay, automatically the barcode scanner will convert that particular product into some set of inputs to the system, and it will be documented in the form of the product description. Okay. Okay, here you can note down what are the labels I have mentioned. Is it visible? Can you come up with the answers? What are the labels? What are the text boxes? Sorry, what are the buttons I have? Look, this is simply a Java program. Simple Java codings. Okay, what's the first label? It's called as item ID. Second thing is quantity. This is a simple thing. Okay. For example, if I am scanning with a barcode, okay, simply I'm just scanning with the barcode, it automatically enters with the item ID. I simply have to mention the quantity alone. For example, if I am purchasing 4 products, for example, if I am purchasing 4 products with the 2 as a similar product, I can able to mention 2 here, and I simply put enter item. This is somewhat called as the older POS. Okay, note down the thing for the POS. POS is called as point of sale. POS. Next generation POS is a case study that we are going through. POS is point of sale. POS is point of sale. Okay, here you can note down what other things as a developer we have to think it over. Yes, come up with the answers. You are a developer. You are just going to create this particular page. What things you will be thinking over? Yes, pa. Let me ask a few names. Yes. Sivabalan. Sivabalan. Sivabalan, can you turn on your mic? Sivabalan. I don't think so. Why you are just not turning on your mics? Look, around 36 is now available now. I'm simply taking the attendance. And from this point of time, if any people who are not answering with my question, you simply turn on your mic. I simply said, if you know or don't know. I'm not able to do anything since this is online. If I ask you, the people, can you turn on, sir? I simply said, I don't know this particular thing. Yes, Sivabalan. Yes, Sivabalan. Sivabalan. Mohana Priya. Mohana Priya. Mohana Priya, can you turn on your mic? Yes, sir. So you are creating this particular page. Is this page visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How will you create this page in Oops? You start with a label, isn't it? You start with a label. You have to create two labels. You have to create two text boxes. You have to create two buttons, isn't it? Are you getting the point clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. If I am pressing this button, enter item. If I am pressing this button, what it have to do? Yes.
We can register the item ID, sir.
Yes. In bill, it had to register that this particular product, how many quantity, how many amount. Okay, this is the function for this particular enter item button. Okay. Okay. If I am clicking this particular text box,
Yes, sir.
the cursor will change into a typing button, isn't it? When you are started typing any content, a small cursor will blink.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this called as on focus. Everything you have discussed, listened with your oops. On click listener, on focus, on mouse move. Have you gone through it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, pa. Thank you, pa. Mona Priya, thank you. So this is the answer I need. This answer I need. Okay. Okay. You can look at this thing is called as user interface. So yeah, this is called as front end also. This is called as front end. And the last thing is called as your back end. And this is your middle, or what you consider as middleware, or the application logic layer. Application logic layer will shows you the exact concepts. Okay, pa. So here you can look at here I have just shown you two domain models. Domain models. One domain model is sales. Sales is domain. Payment is a domain. On the day I just given you yeah, text with a box. Yeah, text with a box is called as simply a domain. Okay, here you can note down this is a domain and this is a two domains. So these application logic layer, and the final thing is called as component layer. Okay, what is meant by login? Logging, log records. I'm just noting down your log records. So which time you enter. If you are entering very late, I'm just marking down your times. Or if you are absent, I'm just marking you. So this is called as logging. Okay. Initially, when you are browsing any web page, you will be getting logged using a concept called as histories. When you are looking at your histories, you can note down that this particular time you have visited this particular page. This is called as logging. And also, if you are moving over to an ATM machine, you can note it down that this particular time you entered into the machine, you have entered your card. Everything will be noted down using a concept called as logging. Okay, this logging has to be done 24/7. Okay, next you can look at the next thing is called as database access. Like I said, every backend will have a database. either your simple access Excel, starting to your PostgreSQL or Oracle, everything will be considering with your database access. Okay, now coming into the focus. Now coming into the focus, now you can note it down. So these things are called come under your minor focus. This is not the major focus area. So this comes under primary focus of your case study, and this comes under your secondary focus. So your primary focus is going to be design of models, or how your application logic layer has to be done. Application logic layer has to be done. Okay, like your OSA layers, here will be having 3 layers: user interface layer, application logic layer, and also the other component layer. Have you drawn this diagram or have noted down this? Or if you having any difficulty, you can take some snap. I'm just focusing it. Take some snaps. Okay, shall I move further? Shall I move further? Or kindly come up with your answers.
Yes, sir.
Kindly unmute yourself. Okay, thank you. Okay, pa. Here you can look at the description of what is meant by POS. Okay, let I tell you these things. Let I tell you these things. You don't need to read these things. I am just describing you. Kindly think it over. A customer who is entering into a departmental store, he purchases some products. Okay, let me talk with you very frank. All went to a departmental store, isn't it? All went to a departmental store. Can you come up with the answers? I'm simply interacting with you. Okay, have you purchased departmental store products and done your payment initially?
Yes, sir.
Can now come up with your use cases. Initially, you enter into a departmental store and you come back out of the department store. What the entire process you do inside it?
Pick the product
Okay,
and build the product.
build the product. Okay, 2 things only you do.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
I'll be giving in detail. You enter into the shopping mall or you entering into the departmental store. You pick a basket or a trolley. Yeah, you move over to the entire shop to search for a product what you need. You pick your product, put it into your baskets. Yeah, after that you move your trolley to the billing counters. There, the particular people who is billing the particular product, who pick the product, put on the barcodes. Everything will be entered into the system. Okay, and after that they will ask you for the payments, whether you are doing the payment either in credit or check or cash. After completing it, the things will be packed into the product. You give on the bills and you get back the product. Am I right? Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, these things are happening in a departmental store. What I'm saying is we are just going to convert this entirely into online. Okay, now come upon with what you purchase a product in online. How will you purchase a product in online? Just the same way, starting from the first to the last. Yes,
Go to the website and search
yes,
for the what we need
okay,
and adding what are the products we add to cart,
yes.
and some cart we can build below, sir.
Okay, that too, there is some alternatives, isn't it? So you started delivering either to your pin code. Yeah, starting with either cash on delivery or doing it in credit or doing it in a debit. Okay, so these things are called as alternatives. So if you have one option, you have another option B, option C. These things are called as alternatives. Okay, so let me show you here what is meant by next generation POS. Okay, I simply give you the next generation POS. But what is happening? So next generation POS is the entire thing. What you're going to do, the shopping things in a departmental store in online. The similar thing in online. Okay, here I can note down. A POS system is a computerized application. So it acts as a part of the entire recording of sales and it handles the payment. Okay, it is simply similar to your retail store. Next thing, it includes the hardware components such as what are the hardware components you need? You need a computer, you need a barcode scanner, and also the software to run the entire system. Okay, so it interfaces to various service applications. If you have to interface with various service applications, some service applications are third-party tax calculators. So while you are paying your thing, you can note it down some GST. Have you gone through the bill? Have you gone through the bill? Any answer, Mipa? You will be noting down GST, CGST, everything. So there is a third-party tax calculator software for your entire product, and it will be calculating your taxes. Okay, and also you need a third-party software for your inventory controls. For example, you have purchased 10 products or 10 soaps. So your inventory control for the particular product has to be decreased with -10. Everything you have to be done very fastest way. Okay, next thing. So these systems must be relevantly fault tolerance. Okay, now come up with this word. What is mean by fault tolerance? What is mean by fault tolerance? Yes. Other than Manoj, there is no such people who is listening to me can come up with the answers. Simply, you are just making me more irritating. Everyone have your controls, can turn on your mics, can give me a reply. Why sort of things I have to take you in front of a screen like this? What is meant by fault tolerance? Yes. Deepa, yes. Deepa, yes. Unmute yourself. Deepa, yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what is meant by fault tolerance?
Failure, sir.
Failure is fault. Okay. What is meant by fault tolerance? Okay, thank you, Deepa. Some other people? Some other people? What is meant by fault tolerance? The option is open. Tarani. Tarani or Tarani. Yes. Manoj Kumar. Yes, Manoj Kumar.
Yes, sir.
Yes. What is meant by fault tolerance?
If there any failure occurs, there must be some compensation for the failure.
Second. Yes. Yeah, I am just giving you the explanation. Listen. So you are just started putting your billing. So you started barcoding everything. You just purchased 20 product. At the 21st product, the system crashed. What it should be doing? Whether it should be starting from the first barcode, or it should have some backup. It starts with 21st. Which one you need, pa?
Yeah.
Which one you
Must
need?
need some backup.
You should have some backups. So this is called as fault tolerance. If anything which went wrong, even though it went wrong, it should not start from the first. Okay, that's called as fault tolerance. Okay. So this is the thing, not what I'm going to explain it here. So these systems must be relevantly fault tolerance. Okay, here you can note down a system. Okay, what it shows, pa? So this is the thing which is happening in abroad. There is no client for moving to the departmental store, moving their trolleys, moving over to their product, picking the product and putting it into the baskets, coming into the bill session. No, it's called as next generation POS. What the thing happening is, you can either go to the mall or go to the departmental store. There you can able to look out the things, how many products which is available. You can simply click how many products I need, how many quantity I need. Simply put enter. You insert your card. The payment is complete. Your box will be delivered to your home. It's called as next generation POS. Whether this concept is understandable, whether this concept is understandable, but yes, and either unmute yourself. Yes, yes, pa,
Yes,
thank you.
sir.
Ahmad Yashma. Yes, pa, thank you. Manoj. So this is the very simplest thing. You don't need to take your products. That is one more thing also. I found some departmental store will have a rolling tray. A rolling tray. They simply put on their products. It just rolls to the particular baskets, and it completely gets filled. That is some set of things which is happening in some places. Okay, so let you think it over like this. So for doing this particular project, what will be the interface you think it over? What will be the interface you think it over? You should have a catalog. For example, if you're going to buy a soap, so you'll be having a catalog, which brand you need. You click it. Inside a particular brand, you'll be having various types based upon the amount. You click it, and finally count. That's it. Next, you come back to the next product. This is the simplest thing. Come up with your next generation POS. Okay, I have given you the entire explanation that I just going to create the entire application for this particular case study by starting with the inception phase. Okay, your first unit entirely starts with inception phase. Your second unit starts with the elaboration phase and continues with a similar way. Okay, let me start with this particular topic. Okay, like I said, what a inception phase will do. What a inception phase will do. You have noted down your content. Yes. What inception phase will do? You can note down the things or that I am displaying in your screen itself. What is meant by elaboration? Sorry, what is meant by inception?
Vision
Yes.
and soft skills.
Four things you do in an inception, isn't it? Yes. What are the four things you do in an inception? Start with a vision. Yes. Sarani. It starts with the vision. You find out the scope, find out the risk. Okay, these things that you do it in a inception phase. Okay. Okay, pa. Let me give you the explanation detail. Here you can look at the inception phase. The purpose of the inception phase is not to define all the requirements. You should not give the entire requirement here. You simply give what you need, like what I said for object-oriented analysis, doing the things right. It starts with what's a real estimate, what's your exact plan, and after that you start with the requirement analysis, and the remaining rest of things has to be continued with your elaboration phase. Okay, let me start with the first thing called as inception. So inception in one sentence, it's the invention of the product scope, vision, and the business case. I just already given the thing with the definition of inception. Okay, next thing, what you do is you start collecting your requirements. You start creating your first iteration. Okay, for our example, for use case models, you may list the name and the most of the expected use cases and the actors. Okay, well, let me ask you the question. For the departmental store, what are the actors will be? For the departmental store, what are the actors will be? Yes,
Customer,
yes, customer.
pub, billing person,
billing person, cashier. Yeah. If any people in delivery, they will be having a delivery people. Okay. So first you have to identify who are the actors that you are going to do. Okay. What are the use cases, pa? What are the use cases? What are the action words? What are the action verbs?
searching for a product,
Okay.
building a product.
Okay. I am asking for next generation POS. What are the things you do it for next generation POS? Yes. To search for a catalog, find the product description. Okay. Am I right? You search for a product catalog, you find the product description, and then you decide to move to the cart. Okay, similar way while doing it in online, moving to the cart, finally paying the bill. So these things are the actions that you are doing in a next generation POS. Okay, let's move into the next screen. Okay, but no, now note down the thing. First, artifacts. So these things that you're going to are planned for it. For this thing, you have to give the comments. Okay, note down the first thing. For vision and the business case, what you have to do, you have to describe the high level goals. You have to define the constraints. Okay, what does mean by high level goals? High level goals, the goals to the higher level. What is the meaning of a constraints? Constraints. Constraints are the conditions. Constraints are the conditions. And next thing is the business case. Whether we can take this particular project, whether it will be giving us the revenue, everything we can able to go through with the business cases. And finally, giving you some executive summaries. So executive summary is some set of documentation which we need to be following. Okay. Next thing is called as use case model. Use case model. Okay, next thing, like I said, use case model is you started typing your set of instructions. What the first one? What the second one? Like I said, in your inception phase, so describe the functional requirement during your inception, and you will name the use cases and identify it. And 10% of the use cases will have to be analyzed in detail. Okay, next the third thing is supplementary specification. For these two things, for your vision and the use case model, you can able to give some additional documents that can be added. The next thing is glossary. Glossary are key domain terminologies. So for example, if you are doing this project in Java, Sphinx, or NetBeans, you can able to adapt it. On the fourth thing is risk list. You have to start from the highest risk to the lowest risk, and you have to plan accordingly. And the fourth thing is a prototype model, iteration plans, yeah, and phase plans, and also the development cases. Are you getting the point clear? Are you getting the point clear? Are you getting the point clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, pa. Okay, let me conclude it here, until here. Okay, Manoj, kindly give the abstract. Pa. Manoj, kindly give the abstract. What the thing we have listened today. Every other people kindly listen to it. Manoj.
Um,
Yes.
uh, we started with the UP phases, four phases, sir. Inception, elaboration, construction, and transition. Then we discussed the example of a departmental store, and we discussed briefly about the each phase of UP. Inception has a small phase and no iteration, like we discussed. Then we discussed about the release and the version. Sir. A release between two iterations called as a delta. Then lastly, we discussed about this POS requirements and diagrams, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, pa. Thank you. So any other doubts? Any other doubts for today's session? You can either post me in chat or you can post me no doubt so that I can able to wind up the session. You can post me in chat. Okay, pa. So let me wind up the session now. Thank you for attending today's session. Thank you.
Thank you.